The Agro-Industrialization Program, AGI, is slowly beginning to have an impact that is leading to the transformation of the agriculture sector from subsistence farming into full commercial farming through enhanced production and productivity and value addition. The Agro-Industrialization Program was launched in 2020.
We have a population that is food and nutrition secure, that has registered increased income from the produce. We have also specialized in some areas. We are no longer advising farmers to grow whatever they grow.
Under the program, now in its fourth year, agriculture real GDP has continued to grow. In financial year 2022-2023, agriculture real GDP grew by 5.0 from 4.2, which was registered in financial year 2021-2022. In 2020-2021, when the program was launched, the growth was 3.5%. The growth is due largely to the increase in agriculture production. It was driven mainly by increased food production, livestock production, and the recovery in fishing activities. Agriculture value addition increased by 11% from 35,144 billion shillings in 2020 to 2021 to 39,028 billion in 2021-2022. It increased to 43,946 billion in financial year 2022-2023. Additionally, efforts have been put into reducing shortage of storage infrastructure and poor post-harvest management. As a result, post-harvest losses for priority commodities reduced by about 18.2%. The Agro-Industrialization Program ties in well with the Parish Development Model, PDM. It is an important platform in enabling vulnerable households in the country to be supported to effectively benefit from programs like agro-industrialization. In 2022-2023, 1,058.125 billion shillings was released to district local governments by 30th June 2023 and dispersed to 10,585 savings and credit cooperatives, SACCOs. Most of them are agriculture-related and are being empowered to demand and receive services under the Agro-Industrialization Program. Storage capacity baseline showed 550,000 metric tons exceeded the target set of 1,050,000 metric tons for 2021-2022 and achieved 1,230,000 metric tons of storage facilities in 57 districts. Under crop production, cutting-edge research and development has produced high-quality genetics and planting materials for these commodities that have helped farmers to enhance their production and productivity.
Because of issues of climate change, you need genetics which are resilient. You need seeds which will not die because of this sunshine.
The research is spearheaded by the National Agriculture Research Organization and its affiliates zonal research and development institutes around the country. For coffee, the mainstay of export revenues, the National Coffee Resources Research Institute, NACORI, has produced superior high-yielding wilt-resistant coffee varieties known as the KR varieties. These are responsible for the explosion in the coffee production which the country is witnessing today. Working with the Uganda Coffee Development Authority, 3 high-yielding disease-resistant Arabica varieties have also been released for distribution to farmers. From around 4 million 60-kilogram bags, Uganda now produces towards 8 million bags per annum thanks to NACORI. Export revenues have also grown significantly from $883.3 million in the previous year to $965.14 million between January 2023 and December 2023, according to the latest figures from the Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA. Under the Coffee Roadmap, Uganda intends to attain 20 million bags by 2030 and emerge among the top 3 producers of coffee globally. Not only that, the varieties have superior yields and quality, which has helped to spawn specialty coffee production in the country. These are aimed at premium markets abroad and are bringing even better incomes for the farmers involved and the country at large. A good example of farmers who are producing for specialized markets is JAPAR DOC Coffee Company in Bulambuli district, producing for premium markets in Europe. With a membership of 420 registered farmers, they produce mainly Arabica AA's and AAA's. Only ripe red cherries are picked. Then they are meticulously sorted to get quality beans.
We are accredited by Specialty Coffee Association. We now have AVAPA, which is the international contest of coffee roasted at origin. We now have that seal of international, so our coffee is allowed everywhere. So from the taste, our coffee is accredited for all.
Coffee, Uganda's leading export commodity, is showing great promise as investors leverage production from premium markets abroad. The great bulk of Uganda's coffee exports is mainly the green bean, but players have emerged in the specialty area of coffee production and export. Coffee is grown and produced to certain strict standards and must be traceable in order to access premium markets abroad where it earns top dollars. Clark Farm in Chenjojo is a privately owned Robusta coffee farm producing coffee for export in gourmet consumers in the Gulf states. Meticulous care is taken in the post-harvest handling of the berries and preparations before it is packaged for exports.
It's good agronomic practices, and then when you pick your coffee, pick in the red cherry. When you look there, when the traders come in, it was red. And you don't pick the green stuff. And this stripping and picking green gives you very bad, poor tasting coffee. And then the post-harvest handling, how you dry it, it's at the right percentage moisture, you store it in the right conditions, and then finally you make it into green bean or you roast it and you sell it.
The buyers even take time to come and confirm how the coffee is produced and handled before export. Titan Coffee in Kampala is one of the leading exporters of roasted coffee, mainly to the Middle East and Gulf states. They export strictly Arabica coffee from Kapchora district.
We are sourcing premium coffee from Mount Elgon mostly. It's actually our main source of green beans is from Mount Elgon, mostly from Kapchora. And we source only premium type of coffee. That is what they call in the world the specialty coffee.
Mainstream exporters of the green bean are also slowly engaging in production and export of roasted coffee. Chajilanyi has a subsidiary that does this under the Volkef brand. Volkef also provides coffee roasting services for exporters without such facilities.
In addition, Volcafe has been trying to do some barista trainings to enable the Horeca chain have people that are well trained to brew coffee and serve coffee.
Quite certainly, the volume and value of coffee can only grow as the country rapidly approaches the $1 billion mark in export revenues. At National Coffee Resources Research Institute, coffee products that could even add more value to the commodity have been developed and are ready for investors to take up. They include cosmetics products and food products. Maize. It is the most important grain in the country and is the main staple food in Uganda and the region. Not only that, it is also the main source of raw material for the production of animal and fish feeds. In 2022, data available from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics shows that 4.6 million tons of maize was produced. Tonnage has kept growing from the then high of 3.8 million tons produced in 2018.
2022, the recent data we have, we went up to 4.6 million. Now for 2 seasons.
Maize in Uganda is mainly produced by smallholder farmers ranging from 1 to 10 acres. but big players like the 5,000-hectare Asili Farms in Chiriandongo district have emerged to produce maize on a large scale for processors that require grain for a certain quality and standard. Quality of grain forms the bedrock of all their operations right from the start.
We start by sourcing good seed, and then when we plant that seed, we manage it through all the cycles. Of course, we do the planting, the spraying to manage the weeds, and we also do some spraying to manage the fungal diseases.
Government has invested a lot in efforts to improve and develop the quality of maize seeds with 2 new maize varieties, Maize 63 Vita, Maize 64 STR, being distributed to farmers.
We have put a lot of effort to develop technologies to improve maize quality and grain handling. And we are currently doing a lot of work on biocontrol product we have developed, and which is about to be registered, called Aflasif.
Grain Pulse, located in Mukono municipality, also does agro-processing. It buys bulk maize from the farmer it supports to be processed into human food and animal feeds, among others. The animal feeds plant produces 2,000 metric tons per month. It produces poultry, piggery and dairy and beef feed supplements.
We buy back from the farmers. Currently we buy back maize, and when we buy back this maize, what do we do with it? We process it, pack it and store it, but we also do value add. And under value add currently we have a very nice maize flour product. Then we also do animal feed as a value add.
Biria United Agencies in Bara is an agro-business dealing in a range of grains and vegetables. Its modern facilities grade and aggregate a range of grains, among other things. It also processes and packages them for the market.
We distribute mainly to government institutions like OPM, UPDF, police, and then to the open market. And our target market is Congo. So even right now we are delivering into Congo. We have a distributor.
There is room for more maize value addition. Products that can be produced include snacks, cornflakes and feeds. For instance, the newly developed naturally orange Maize 63 Vita has a range of potential products.
Maize also has gone to development of products like, the snacks. The one which comes to mind are the gorillas. It's a popular snack for, and especially among children. And the gorilla is made from yellow maize. And the company that makes it imports close to 40 metric tons per month of that maize. And we think the maize we have recently released will go a long way also to reverse that situation, so that it can be produced locally and the farmers can benefit to be able to supply these industries that are making the snacks.
The goal of vegetable oil development in Uganda is to help win the country of the huge amount in foreign exchange incurred in importing crude vegetable oil to produce cooking oil and soap, among other things. Uganda currently spends more than $300 million per year in crude cooking oil imports. In northern and eastern Uganda, government has promoted oilseeds production with private sector players as the main stakeholders. The oilseed in question is mainly sunflower seed production. Some 73,880 kilograms of sunflower seed were distributed in order to grow 36,690 acres by 7 large-scale farmers and 28 farmer cooperatives in northern Uganda and in Nakapiripit and Bulambuli districts in eastern Uganda. Over 200,000 metric tons of oil seeds are produced annually by farmers. Alongside oil seeds is the palm oil production project, which began in Kalangala Island with over 11,000 acres under production. Out of these, 4,000 are being managed by local outgrowers. Cumulatively, the farmer members of Kalangala Oil Palm Growers Trust have harvested 390,067 metric tons valued at 267.8 billion shillings between January 2010 and June 2023. The effort to produce crude palm oil has since been expanded to Buvuma Island, where 5,000 acres have been cleared and are being planted with palm oil. The main production is being undertaken by a private investor, Oil Palm Buvuma Limited. The company is responsible for developing and producing seedlings for its own use and also to be supplied to 750 local farmers who have registered to grow the crop. Acheng Margaret is one of the enthusiastic farmers who have taken to palm oil growing. It is 2 years since she set up her plantation following sensitization on palm oil growing.
Kati byasomesa we batusomesa ningamba nange kanime kukinaza abana bange bana abato oba oli awo nange nimbasomesako ne bagendako ki ne bagendako waggulu kye kyansikiriza nange ninkigula nintandika okulima ekinazi.
Cutting-edge research is now looking at addressing the problem of mixing up seedlings varieties by nursery operators. It has now necessitated the development of a new system.
We are trying to establish a seed system within 14 in Uganda, working with other partners like the Ministry of Agriculture, to make sure that when we produce a genotype, it can be traced.
Research is also developing tea varieties for niche markets where Uganda can earn even more revenue from tea exports, with development of purple and green tea at advanced stages.
Black tea can be sold in the auction for like $1 compared to purple tea, which can be taken for $7 to $10. So this is what we want farmers to go in, and then we will train them on how to process them at cottage level so that they can reach out to the niche market.
Under animal production, much has gone towards the improvement of breeds in order to increase dairy and meat production. The breeding program is spearheaded by the National Genetics Research Center and Database.
That has different breeds of animals that comprise of the dairy, the dual-purpose, and then the beef. So for the dairy we have Asher, Jersey, Frisian and Guernsey.
15 breeding and production support structures have been constructed at each center farms out of 18 that were planned for the financial year 2021-2022. Genetic progress in livestock is being accelerated to increase availability and access to elite livestock seed. For this, NARO has established a livestock IVF platform to enable production of cost-effective and quality bovine embryos. It is the first of its kind in Uganda and has a capacity to produce 200,000 embryos annually at $100 per embryo. This compares favorably with imported embryos that cost $300 each. Private breeders are also licensed and are on hand to provide services across the country. Dairy farming is one of the priority agricultural enterprises where major milestones are being registered. Milk production in Uganda increased by a whopping 800 million litres and moved the country closer to a commercial production of nearly 4 billion litres per annum. This is due to improvements not only in breeds but also for pastures, animal health. For instance, stemming ticks and animal diseases such as foot and mouth disease is vital for Uganda's dairy sector to export regionally and internationally.
Because we have not been able to cover the national herd, we have changed the policy so that the government procures one time off enough vaccine and avail them to farmers. Every farmer will be vaccinating his animal twice a year and at his own cost. The government will be responsible for the cost of administration, cold chain facilities, and also extension work.
A lot has also been done to improve milk post-harvest handling facilities for the dairy farmers.
And this has moved the milk production from we have come from 3.1 billion litres to 3.8 billion litres. And this is, of course, the marketed milk.
The dairy sector has excelled in value addition with numerous products availed on the local market and for export to the region and further afield. Pearl Dairies and Amos Dairy in western Uganda are some of the big producers of milk products in the country.
Our markets, for example, our casein, the market is in the US. Our ghee and butter, we have Egypt, Jordan. We have also markets for our casein in India. We also export to Kenya, especially the SMP and some of the powders. We also export to Saudi Arabia as well. Markets are opening up also in Zim and part of Southern Africa.
Currently, preparations are on to export dairy products to Algeria, which has offered a $500 million quota per annum and set to be a game changer for the country.
This is a very substantial market for us, where they are going to be taking whole powdered milk because they need that milk for constitution into other dairy products.
Significant progress has also led to increased beef production as the result of farmers improving their beef herds and pastures. Farmers are also being supported to adopt modern beef farming methods like bull fattening.
Since you are feeding on special concentrated feeds, those animals for sure gain weight more than they would have gained weight when they are feeding in the fields.
These programs are based on the fact that Uganda has the capacity to be a major supplier of beef and dairy products for both regional and global markets. In the same vein, significant effort and progress has been registered in increasing meat production overall, with pork and poultry playing a significant part. Poultry is also a vital source of meat, and NAGRIC has developed, multiplied and promoted poultry varieties which are being availed to farmers. While meat might not be providing so much in terms of value addition and manufacturing, rejected and damaged hides and skins have spawned off a successful manufacturing enterprise along the meat value chain. Sky Fat Tanneries in Jinja is one of the clearest demonstrations that any part of the value chain can be developed into flourishing industrial production. The skins are sourced for butcheries, slaughterhouses and other tanneries around the country. The tanneries produce high-grade gelatine to strict standards for the international market. Gelatine is a vital ingredient in the food and pharmaceuticals industries around the world. For fisheries, particularly farmed fish or aquaculture, the National Fisheries Resources Research Institute has identified and developed quality fish seed, mainly mirror carp, African catfish and Nile tilapia, which have been availed to farmers to support fish farming across the country. The Kajansi facility works with certified private hatcheries like Rock Springs Fish Farm in Tororo, in eastern Uganda, which specializes in the production and supply of Nile tilapia fingerlings to fish farmers across the country.
Brazil exports 850,000 metric tons of tilapia. And yet tilapia is not native to Brazil, but they did it through selective breeding. So it's very, very important. Selective, when you breed, when you have good breeds, you improve productivity. And therefore you spend less time to get a lot of money.
Supplies of seed and vital information, technologies and skills provided by the National Fisheries Resources Institute have provided the means for big private companies and individual fish farmers to flourish. As efforts are made to put in place protocols to certify farmed fish for the premium markets, investments are on course to set up value addition facilities like Yalelo, Uganda on Lake Victoria. Besides farming its own fish, it has set up a fish processing facility to European Union specified standards. It is ready to ship processed tilapia fillet and other fish products when EU regulators give Lake Victoria waters the clean bill of health as source of farmed fish.
Had customers come and visit, or potential customers now visit on 5 or 6 occasions, including from Asia. So we are confident that the product from your yellow, but Uganda in general, is one which is of the right quality and can be produced economically for export.
For Uganda to increase agriculture production means increasing the acreage under use. Successful modern commercial farming requires enablers in order to be sustainable and worthwhile for farmers. Mechanization not only makes preparation and tilling of the land faster, it also eases harvesting and post-harvest handling. For instance, this array of combine harvesters are stationed at Amuru District Headquarters in northern Uganda, where large-scale grain farmers can hire them to harvest their produce. Overall progress for the mechanization centers averaged 58% by 30th June 2023 at different sites. The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries acquired 274 tractors and matching implements, 450 walking tractors and a complete set of heavy earth-moving equipment to increase the area under cultivation from the current 35% to 60% have also been procured. The tractors are now in use by various beneficiaries. Additionally, 938 kilometers of farm access roads were opened, improved and rehabilitated. Provision of quality inputs is also one of the key enablers that government is trying to provide. Critically, the provision of quality certified inputs and fertilizers through certified agro-dealers and agents. Not only that, a number of farms have been licensed to blend fertilizers locally for the various crops under production. Provision of water for production is among the mitigation measures to address the challenges of climate change and food insecurity across the country. Consequently, this has helped to the construction and completion of medium and large-scale irrigation schemes across the country, as well as small and solar-powered irrigation projects. Clearly, these examples show how far the country has come in terms of enhancing value addition for Uganda's agriculture commodities through manufacturing and processing. The government is supporting this by promoting the facilitating efforts aimed at increased production and productivity of the agriculture sector. However, sector players believe a lot more can be achieved if the support from government is ramped up.
Cost of money, given the interest rates in Uganda, for us it is quite high for export business.
Among the concerns are the cry for more incentives. While there are some tax incentives, the gains are deducted when imported packaging materials are heavily taxed. Also at issue is the low qualities and standards of production by the farmers. Many modern agro-processors with an eye on premium and export markets face the challenge of widespread low quality of produce supplied by farmers.
Most of the grains are contaminated, especially maize is the worst.
While the importance of mechanization is recognized in opening up more and for production and increasing farmer productivity, challenges still abound.
We are facing uncertainties in the international situation because of certain conflicts all over the world, which they don't affect us in terms of food, but they affect logistic chains, for example. So it implies that we need to graduate from depending so much from outside to having some capacity of ours and being able to interact with the outside world on our own terms.
The way around these bottlenecks might lie in strengthening current efforts or focusing on consolidating current support mechanisms.
We need to look at farming in terms of science. It's no longer an option to irrigate. The slogan in Uganda, fertile soil, good climate, can no longer stand. Our soils are exhausted, the population is increasing. We need to apply science to bring efficiency in our production system.
Otherwise, the industrialization program is the way to go, and it is going to be the perfect vehicle to fulfill the promise and objectives of the parish development model in lifting vulnerable households out of poverty.